we've got your UI set up and our scores and able to move it with our player, the next thing we need to do really is to get some things that are collectible. Now, lots of things in your platformer pack that we can use for this. We have a number of tiles that we can use, as I have done with my box coin, and we've also got some items as well, like the things like the silver coins, the stars, etc. All those things. Now this can be not just this Mario style box with coins that kind of appear out of it. You could do any kind of glider with this, or collectible, sorry, with this. So you can manipulate it and adjust it as it is with the design document. But this is to show you something with collision. So I've got one already set up here, but I'm going to make another one up as well. So I'm going to go to the tiles. These have already been scaled because we did this really early on. I'm just going to drag one and drop one onto the game screen there and position it, so that's fine. So I've got box coin. I'm just going to rename that to, unsurprisingly, box coin 2, like so. And that's great. That's what we need. But I also want a coin to appear out of that box. So I go to items and I grab a coin, gold coin, and I'm going to drop that above the box. That's where I want it to be, just appear above the box. Now, I want my gold coin to be actually a child of my box coin, like so. Then I can rename this to be coin gold. And it should look something similar to this, like so. Now, that's great. I've got now a box which I will collide with, like so, and a coin that will be there. But a bit odd because it's already there and we want it to appear. So I'm going to need a script to do that. So let's go take a look at the script that we're going to use for this. But we are going to need, before we get to scripts, some colliders for these. So let's click back onto the box and let's just get rid of that for a second. And going to add a box collider to the coin, to the box. And that does that work for us. That's great. Now we want this to be, as we've used before, a trigger. Now, as we know with the triggers, the one problem that comes up with a trigger is the fact that it actually allows any player or any other object to move through it. So if I now play, you can see that with my other box I hit up against it, but when I come to this box, because it's a trigger, I can just go through it. Now, that might be great, that might be the sort of thing that you want for it, that might be fine. But in this instance, we don't want that to happen. So what we need to do is actually add another game object to it. So we create an empty game object, and I'm going to rename this as collision. Make that a child of our box coin, like so. I'm going to add a component of a box collider to it. I'm going to reset its position, like so. And then I'm going to edit the collider so that it is positioned over the top of our box, like that. Then when I come along, and then I'm able to bump in to the box, but I still have on my box a trigger, which is fine, which is all good. So that's great. But now we have we need to put a collision round the gold coin as well. So add a component, search for a circle collider around that. We also want this to be a trigger. Now that'll be fine, we don't need to be able to butt up against it, it doesn't need to be solid, because as soon as we collect it, we want it to disappear because we've collected it. So that's fine. We just then need to edit it. So let's shrink that down so it's the size of the coin. So there, that's fine. We have that as size of the coin, and it's a trigger. Great. Now we've got everything that we need for our triggers. So the next thing we need to do is create a couple of scripts that will allow us to use these collectibles and add score as well. So the two scripts that we're going to create are coin box and coin collider. Two different scripts for this. So as we've done previously, create, you can go through the right click create menu like so, or if you click onto your box coin, and we can add a component and add a script in this way, a new script, and add it that way as well. Obviously I don't need to do this because I've already created the script here. So I'm going to drop into my develop and show you what we've got. So the first one is for our actual coin box, and this is quite a simple script. We haven't got much that's going on here. So we start off with our actual a public variable which relates to the child object that we've got, which is our gold coin. So here we have it, and we need to relate that to this script. So we need it to be a public object, a public variable. When we actually start up, the first thing we can do is set this to our gold coin to be false in terms of set active. Now every game object has the ability to be either active or not active. That means it's not actually visible on the game screen and you can't actually interact with it if it's set to false. So the first thing we want to do is set that to false in start. So we use goldcoin.setActive and we pass into that method false. The next thing is that, and we're going to put a little comment in here, if the player, let's say, collides with the box, set coin to active. And that's simply what we're doing. We, again, as we have done previously, we have a collider and we check whether the collider's name is Tokoi, which is our player, and then we just simply set the active to true. So let's save that. So if I place coin box onto here, you'll see that we have this public coin gold. So we need to pass that on. So let's pass our coin onto it like so. So it knows what it's initialized, knows what it's looking at. I now go into this. Whereas before we had coins that were invisible, we don't. And then as we pop into that, it actually makes it active. So it was non-active and now it's active. Fantastic, it works. Okay, our next script is not score counter, is coin collider. Again, a super simple script. We have our gold coin, so we need to make that a public object or public variable. We also need to have score counter. So what we're doing is, as the player collides, we'll put a little comment in here. And type if player collides with coin this time, then update score. So essentially we're asking if the player is the collider. We first off set the active to false, so make sure that it disappears so we don't still have the coin on the screen, and we increment the update score by 1. So remember, when we have our update score, we can pass a value here, score update, and we add that score to our score value, and then we update our score text. Now we could change this value to something else. We could have it as 5. So if I save that, I pass to our, let's go to coin gold, coin collider on top of that. So we need coin gold on there, pass that on there. Now for the score, we need to pass that in, and this is our score here, like so. We should see that as we go across, we jump onto it, and we see that our score is incremented, like so, and so. Like so. So you should then, from there, that's how you should actually increment your score. There can be a slight issue that comes about with the way that we've implemented this. If we look at our box currently, we jump and we've got our score. Then if we continue to jump, we keep getting this value rising up. That's because our collider for our trigger is actually the whole size of the box. So to overcome this, all we need to do is edit our trigger and just reduce this down a little bit so that it just covers the bottom of our box, like so. So then if we add this in like that, what we can now do is, if we hit the bottom of our box, we jump, and because we have that other collider, even when we jump on here, we don't get that repeated score. So we just have that slight change that we need to make to our box collider.